Good morning, guys. I am awake again decently early. Gonna get a good start to the day, and it's only like 9:20. So I'm gonna go ahead, grab a little bit of breakfast, and hop on the treadmill desk so I can get my steps in. I did manage to hit 10,000 steps last night, so that's definitely big thumbs up, big step in the right direction, literally. So let's get this day started. All right, we are up and we are going. Breakfast has been had. I'm on the treadmill desk, getting started with my day job type stuff. However, I noticed over on Twitter, Boogie2988, Stephen Williams, he's a guy I've been following on YouTube for years and years at this point. Amazing comedian, amazing person, but he is morbidly obese, and he's been trying for years to lose the weight. Well, his doctor has finally told him, if you don't do something, you're gonna die. But they told him if he can lose 100 pounds, that they will actually be able to do bariatric surgery for him. I've had quite a few friends that have actually undergone bariatric surgery, some good, some bad, some have lost weight and then gained it back, but it's always really massive, really fast weight loss. So in his case, that would probably be a really good way to go. The unfortunate thing about it is, in order to lose the weight, his doctor has put him on a meal replacement shake diet. So 1,200 calories a day until he loses the weight, which he said something about losing a total of about 24 pounds per month this way. So in like 4 or 5 months, he might actually be to that point where he's able to have the surgery. But at 1,200 calories a day, that's miserable. And I definitely feel for him. Boogie, if you happen to see this video, I'm feeling for you, man. I mentioned to him on Twitter the other day that when I was doing my weight loss thing, when I got down to my lowest on the diet, on the lifestyle change, the way that I was eating at the time, I was eating about 1,250 calories a day because that's what the app told me to eat. That's what my body needed in order to be able to lose weight and still be at a place where I could function. But for somebody that's multiple times my size, that is just ridiculous to consider. He's saying that his body will burn 4,000 calories a day as it stands right now. Mine burns something like 2,200. So I can't even really imagine how massive of a change this is going to be for him. I will make sure to put a link to his YouTube channel and Twitter stuff down in the video description, so go send him some love. Not that he needs it from me. He has an absolutely massive YouTube channel. For some reason, he follows me on Twitter. I don't know what happened there. I definitely appreciate it. Boogie, if you happen to see this, thank you so much for following me on Twitter. Thank you for the support. And now hopefully I can show you a little bit of support. You can do this, man. You are awesome. It is, like I said to you on Twitter just now, it is going to be the hardest thing that you have ever done. Especially, I mean, I can't even imagine it, but it's going to be absolutely horrible, but you can do it, and it's worth it. Still walking, still working, doing well. Actually, today's vlog is up at this point, and I got a comment from, I'm going to butcher it again, Saran, I don't know. He was talking about internet connection speeds and checking on Duncan and things like that, so definitely appreciate that. I know I've complained about our internet connection speed in the past, and I shouldn't. Our download speed is really not that bad. 30 megabits per second, it's fine. It's the upload speed that I have a problem with, and I've talked to our cable provider, and they don't seem to be interested in providing anything faster than that because they don't think anybody's going to use anything faster than that, and they're not going to do it for just one person, unfortunately. So I'm just going to have to be on the lookout and hope that somehow at some point fiber connectivity comes to our area, some sort of gigabit connectivity comes to our area. And the sad thing is, if I lived anywhere else, basically all of the other providers, Comcast, Time Warner, things like that, they all kind of suck in their own ways, but at the same time they at least provide decent upload speeds. And the other thing he was asking about was, how did I get started on YouTube and how did I get the name Twill.tv? Which means that he is relatively new to the channel, which is good. So how I got started on YouTube 6 years ago at this point, I actually started making videos for a Linux group that I was a part of, a Linux group that I was helping to run. We were having our monthly meetings, and at those meetings I started recording some of the presentations we were doing, took them home and started editing them, and then uploading them to things like Vimeo. Actually, even before that, several years ago, like 2007, yeah, we went to Chicago on a vacation. And while we were there, I filmed a zombie march. So you had, hundreds of people show up in Millennial Park in Chicago, dressed in zombie makeup, and they marched around the block. And I just took my little crappy point and shoot camera and I filmed some of that, and I uploaded it to YouTube, and it got a few thousand views. And it's like, wait a minute, what's going on? This was in a time where a few thousand views was really not bad. It's still not bad. So that kind of sparked my interest. So then later on, like I said, I was doing the Linux thing, and I was making videos for that and uploading them to Vimeo, and I started watching YouTube a little bit more closely, started watching people doing daily vlogs, started watching people making Linux related content, and the grand majority of the Linux related content on YouTube at the time was podcast style content, things that were like an hour or an hour and a half long. I know that's great. A lot of people do really enjoy that. They'll take that and they'll run with it. They'll go on walks and they'll listen to that. But for myself, an hour and a half was just a little bit much for me. So I decided I wanted to start making my own content, and I thought, why not do sort of a news video? So I started gathering up what I considered to be the This Week in Linux news. And yeah, in a way, the name was definitely a play off of the Twit network, This Week in Tech, because I checked and they didn't have This Week in Linux. They had never had This Week in Linux. They had Floss Weekly, because they didn't want to be tied down to just talking about Linux. So that was a mistake on my part at the same time. So that's where the name Twill came from. It was a shortening of This Week in Linux. And actually, when I saw the domain twill.tv was available, no one had ever registered it. I decided to go ahead and pick it up. So I actually owned thisweekinlinux.com for 3 or 4 years at least. I let it expire a while back. And I originally bought twill.tv to be able to just use it as a URL shortener. Never got around to doing that. But I bought it because it was a 4-letter URL, and those are kind of hard to come by. And then just as time progressed, I ended up moving away from the This Week in Linux channel. So I ended up creating the new channel, they partnered it up, and then I made videos on the old channel saying, hey, by the way, come over to this new one. So twill.tv was born. I think it was like July 4th, 2012. So technically I've been on the new channel for about 3.5 years now, which explains why people like you, Saran, or other people watching this video don't know that other channel has existed. I did have a previous channel, lasted for a few years, moved on. It's something that a lot of people do on YouTube. That's sort of the behind the scenes of where that all came from. It was This Week in Linux, all of that. It was an abbreviation of This Week in Linux. And when I moved over to twill.tv, a lot of the Linux in the channel went away. I actually have done Linux news videos since that time on twill.tv, and I have done the occasional Linux related thing like the Ubuntu phone stuff, but as a part of that transition and just as a part of growing and changing, I took a job a few years back when I used to work for the state government. I moved from that to working for Lexmark, and working at Lexmark I was doing an awful lot of work with Linux, developing software on Linux, administering Linux servers, things like that. And it got to the point where it was just, at the end of the day, when I came home, I didn't want to have to tinker with Linux systems at home when I was doing it all day at work. The funny thing is, for years and years, I struggled with it. I wanted to work with Linux. I wanted to be that guy, the Linux guy. So I was doing it all in my spare time, making Linux videos at home. So when I got to the point where I was able to do it for my day job, I didn't want to do it so much at home anymore. And this is a lot more information than I meant to give. That's okay. So that explains sort of my home transition to using Windows as a full-time. I do still have Linux machines here. I do still have Linux servers at home. I actually have a Mac sitting here right beside me that I use for my day job now, that I use to administer Linux servers and Windows servers and do automation stuff with all of those things. Because I have come to understand that it's not even so much the OS that you're using that matters, it's the tools you have on that OS that really make the difference, and whether or not you're able to use them effectively. In my case, video editing has worked really well on Windows. It worked okay on Linux, and I did it that way for, I guess, 3.5 years or so, maybe more. But I've been able to become a whole lot more efficient, a whole lot faster using Windows. So that's just what I've done, and I think I'm gonna stop there. I've been going on for entirely too long about this again. Thank you for your question, though. And I'm finally doing it. I hit the button and I'm installing OS X El Capitan, or OS X El Capitan, on my work laptop. It just hadn't even offered it to me before this. I'm guessing that something changed at work and they finally approved it. By the way, I just got an email, complete random change of topic here. I got an email from DJI this morning. Apparently, and I guess I should have guessed this, with the announcement they made about the DJI Phantom 3 4K edition, they've gone ahead and made changes to some of the previous Phantom 3 prices, meaning that where I got the Phantom 3 standard for $499, that's now the new price for it. Like I said, I should have expected that when I ordered it back Black Friday. They said they were making the change just for the holidays. It's pretty obvious now that that was going to be a long-term thing. But they've also changed the Phantom 3 advanced price. It's now $799. So if you've been holding out on picking one up, $499 for the Phantom 3 that I've got is not a bad price at all. Don't know if I'll be picking up the Phantom 3 4K. Probably won't be, because you can see how I do use the Phantom 3 standard that I've got, but I'm doing perfectly fine with it without having 1080p 60 or 4K, so I'm probably not going to. However, I'm very, very tempted to make a video about it for the main channel, because those price points, being able to get it at that price every day and knowing there will probably even be sales on top of that, there are going to be a lot of people that are looking for it and that are interested in it, so the more videos I can make about it, the better chance of people buying as a result of my link, and I'm not going to even be ashamed to say that. In other news, I've been getting a load of comments I've been answering while I've been doing work. I can't even pronounce his name, but one of you guys commented that if I'm looking at Final Cut Pro X that I should check out this link to see it at its full power. there's a link to Jonathan Morrison TLD Today's video about the MacBook, the little 12-inch Ultrabook running Final Cut Pro X, editing 4K video. And basically the laptop that I'm using as compared to that MacBook, ridiculously so much more powerful. So technically, if I wanted to switch over to using that, I could edit 4K videos, edit my 1080p 30 videos, these videos, edit my 1080p 60 videos with absolutely no issues. But that would mean learning an entirely new system and paying $300 to Apple for a piece of software to run on a machine that I don't actually own. Of course, that has gotten me looking over at Apple's website just to see sort of the pricing on different systems. As an example, you can get a Mac Mini with their top-of-the-line dual-core i7 processor, 8 gigs of RAM, which I don't know if you can upgrade after the fact. I don't think you can anymore. Blah, 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 $1,200. So technically the system that I've got here blows it out of the water and was roughly the same price after the fact. So it's got 32 gigs of RAM, it's got an SSD built in, it's got a much more powerful processor. Ow. But I think what they're going to say there is Final Cut Pro X is so optimized for the Apple hardware that you don't have to have as much of it to be able to do the same kind of stuff you can do on a Windows machine. I don't know, I realistically cannot see myself moving to Apple full-time. I had an iPhone in the past, I was not a huge fan. I've got a MacBook Pro for work that I use, but I don't love. I love the hardware, I don't love the software, that's the thing. I've got an iPad, I don't use it all that often. I don't know, and I mean, in the exact same vein, Geek Yash made a comment on yesterday's vlog, saying if you make tech news on your main channel along with the vlog, just telling what you find interesting, talking about Apple and Android rumors, you're going to reach 100,000 very quickly. Like, well, technically I already make news videos talking about Android stuff over on XDA. I could do that on my main channel and also throw in Apple stuff, but I don't really do Apple stuff. It's never really been me. I don't know. We'll just sort of have to see.
In other news, exactly what I expected to happen has happened. Little man is in my office while I'm working.
And realistically, I cannot complain about it too much. Christina is home here today with him. She's been taking care of him the grand majority of the day. She just needed a few minutes to go upstairs and take a quick shower, but it does go back and forth. You know, I mean, he's not requiring like manual interaction at the moment. He's asleep, so it's not a big deal. But it does sort of detract from being able to do my day job. Although you could also say that doing this is detracting from my day job, and researching stuff on Apple's detracting, and answering comments and so on and so forth. So it works out, I guess, at the end of the day. Well, it is a little while later, and I'm actually feeling pretty good about the way things have gone so far today. Actually gotten quite a bit accomplished as far as work is concerned. As I was talking about yesterday, just briefly touch on this, needed to work on getting configuration options pulled out into their own separate file so that they could all be managed by our enterprise configuration management server. That was actually really trivial to do, so I've gone ahead and implemented some of that, and it's working appropriately, so that's definitely awesome.
Oh buddy, that's exciting. 2 cases from Plastic Case showed up. We've got the Nanook 910 for the DJI Osmo and the Nanook 950 for the DJI Phantom 3, and they said it should work just fine for the Phantom 3 standard. Looks like the box is a little bit of rough shape, but I think we'll survive. I mean, it's a hard case inside of a cardboard box. The hard case is actually the hardest part of all of it.
By the way, completely forgot to mention, I've actually been stepping an awful lot today. I'm at 7,900 steps and it's about 2 o'clock, so doing very, very well. In addition, I've started looking into the footage that I've captured so far today, and this camera is now in manual focus mode. And I've actually got the peaking turned on so I can see what's in focus at the moment, so I can sort of move myself to make sure that I'm in focus. My glasses and teeth appear to be the focus points right now. Wish that I could show it to you, but it's kind of weird. My teeth are blue in the little monitor and my glasses are blue. And it is perfect that I'm able to see that. And if I move back too far, actually, yeah, they go out of focus just a little bit and now it comes back in. So things look pretty good now. So sorry about that. I'm gonna try to keep the autofocus turned to a minimum. Use it only when I'm showing other people and stuff like that.
And little man Booger is home. By the way, Lee was asking, Ginger's doing just fine. She's still a dog, which I haven't been showing her in the vlog all that much lately. But they've been playing together a lot and tried to give her all the attention, because littlest man has been getting the majority of the attention, as he should. But she's still here and she's good. Dog.
So I decided to go ahead and take just a couple of minutes and open up some of these Nanook boxes. I was going to do an unboxing of it, but it's a box inside of a box, so I kind of figured that would be a little bit redundant. I'm going to be doing a video about it, just talking about what it is and how it works and everything, but yeah, it's a box
with a box inside of it, and the box is in a bag. So it's a box in a bag in a box. And now it's just a box. And look at that color. The Nanook 910. Got a neat little tag attached to it talking about lifetime guarantee and whatnot. Oh, it's got some very sturdy, nice clasps to it. Definitely a big fan so far. Love this design. Ooh, solid as a rock. But you know what? I think I'm gonna save the rest of this for the actual video about it. Moving on to the bigger box. Here is the Nanook 950. Big box inside of a bag inside of a box. This is a heavy one. And it has that same lifetime guarantee stuff on it. Just look how big that case is. And I went with the, I think they call it slate, something like that. But it has rolling wheels on it. They don't feel like they're gonna roll terribly well just yet, but I'm sure that's just gonna be a matter of time and loosening them up, breaking them in. You got these same latches that open kind of like that, and you can't see that, but there you go. And again, the rest of it will just be on the big camera in the other setup. Very, very cool though. So again, not sure if they're gonna see that here or not. I may tag it in the description and maybe even put links to it if you're interested in knowing more about it. But thanks so much to Plasticase for sending these out. There will be a video for each one of them coming up on the main Twill.tv channel in the next few days, as I can find time to get a little bit of quiet time and actually make the videos about them. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do the video about the bigger case. Probably gonna have to do it in another place or just a different camera layout or something, because I don't have a big surface to actually make videos on in this office. So I've got the little man here with me. He's just zonked out. But I noticed over on Slick Deals, they linked to a deal over on Adorama. I mentioned before that the DJI was coming out with a new Phantom 3, the 4K edition, and that it was supposed to be $9.99. But apparently right now on Adorama, you can get that same one for $7.99. I definitely don't need another one, but I'm still super tempted by it. I mean, $800 to get a 4K quadcopter with a proper controller that has the, you know, the big tablet holder on it. Wow, that's really, really tempting. Because I mean, if you think about it, if you buy a new battery, just the battery alone is $140. So to be able to get an entire separate 4K quadcopter with controller and props and everything for $800 it's really tempting. I'm probably not gonna do it. I'm just gonna be honest here, because there will probably be other deals. $800 though, that's $200 under the manufacturer suggested retail price. It's probably a price mistake. If I had to be honest about it, it's probably a mistake, and they probably will not honor it, which makes it even more tempting to go for it. But no, I'm not gonna jump in on this one. Like I said before, I've got the Phantom 3 itself, and I haven't been flying it that much because cold weather and just I don't have a whole lot of stuff to film at the moment. It will get a lot of use in time. It just hasn't yet. But it sounds like it is time for food. Food time, food time, food time, and I'm carrying a boy.
Ooh. Did we go get the carrier?
Ham. No, I'll get it. Ham, mac and cheese, corn muffins, cornbread, whatever you want to call it. Ham looks good. Duncan's eating. Ooh, he's actually gonna eat mac and cheese with us. Cool. And again, unfortunately, because we have lots and lots of stuff going on and family stuff and whatnot, beautiful sunset that I've missed. Totally would have brought the Phantom 3 out here for this, but nope, missed out on it. Well, it is much later in the evening at this point. Duncan has already gone to bed. I spent the grand majority of the evening sitting in there with the family, with the Shield tablet in hand, watching YouTube videos while they were watching basketball things on TV. I'm just not big on sports. Sitting there with Ellis while he slept, and Duncan while he watched the basketball, and catching up with like Roman Atwood's vlogs and whatever else I happened to find on YouTube. And actually I just got an email, or I got one just a little while ago from FedEx. I was kind of curious how this Google Express thing was going to work. Apparently, Google is going to be directly shipping the things that we order from Chicago to us here, as opposed to coming from Lexington, where we thought the stores would actually be. And so it's a FedEx package that's going to be showing up sometime tomorrow. Luckily, we are going to be here the entire day that we'll be able to receive it. But I'm really curious to see how this turns out, because realistically, this would be something that would be very, very nice to be able to use as a person who doesn't leave the house terribly often, especially if you have the membership. At a yearly rate, $95, it's about the same as Amazon Prime. If you can get something delivered next day, even if it is from a store that's only local to you. As an example though, one of the stores that they offered to ship from was Fry's Electronics, which usually has some really good deals on things, but we don't have a Fry's around here anywhere. If I had to guess, I think the closest one is probably in Chicago, and that would explain why that works. So maybe when we get the box tomorrow, I'll open them up on camera and we'll take a look at how everything's packaged and what came and everything like that. We just ordered some grocery type things, drinks and snacks and stuff we probably didn't really need, but we had the voucher to use, and these are things we would have picked up if we'd actually gone to Costco, so it saved us a trip. So I just talked to my dad there. That was an interesting conversation. Apparently they're all still sick, which is why they haven't come back to see the baby quite yet. They're desperate, wanting to come back, but they just can't yet. But they bought my niece one of the hoverboards, the balancing scooter, the whatever else you want to call it, for Christmas. And apparently within 2 days, it died. Completely died. First, would not take a charge at all. Turns out that the charger had died. And then once they got it plugged in with a new charger and got it all charged up, only one of the motors appears to be spinning, so it just goes around in circles. They bought it over on Newegg, but apparently it was some sort of a shell shocker deal and it was through a third party, so it's not looking good. So I feel kind of bad about that. I've been trying to get in touch with companies asking about other hoverboards, because there were at one point 3 or 4 different companies coming to me saying, we saw your video about the hoverboard, about the balance scooter, we want you to make more videos about it, we'll send you ours so you can compare. None ever came through. Not a single other one showed up. So I was hoping that at some point that a second one would show up and I would be able to gift that one to someone else in the family, and it just has not happened yet. So, oh well. Probably for the best, just because of all of the exploding type things that have been happening in that sphere. I've been very, very lucky so far. I haven't actually been riding mine all that much lately, what with the baby and whatnot, and with the cold weather. But even if I had, I've charged it several times before. I've left it on the charger and been away, and I've had no issues. It has not gotten hot, it has not sparked, it has not fired, no explosion, nothing like that, obviously. But apparently a lot of the much, much less expensive ones, the ones that got down at the $200 price point, a lot of those apparently exploded. So I got very, very lucky there. In other news, lots and lots of stuff coming out of CES. Apparently an updated version of the Sony camera that an updated version of the Sony camcorder that I use was released. I use the AX33. They just released the AX53 with improved lens and improved sensor. So much, much better night performance and low light performance, and much, much better optics in general, with slightly improved image stabilization and the same $1,000 price tag. So if you're in the market for a high-end camcorder, the one that I've got is amazing. The new one is supposed to be even better. I would love to upgrade, but I just cannot justify it because this camera... Yeah, by the way, I've been using the G7 the entire day. I just kind of thought about that, but oh well. I'm loving the quality of the image, especially now that I've started using manual focus and actually making sure that the image looks good. Because earlier on in the day, apologies for that in advance, or in retrospect, I don't know. Earlier on in the day, I had it set to a really high ISO. I think I had it all set to manual, so everything was really bright and blown out, and it just got worse as the day got brighter. Once I set it back to program mode with auto everything except for focus, everything looks a whole lot better now, in my opinion. But anyway, the other thing I saw that has come out of CES that looks confusing and interesting is Parrot. I'm gonna go ahead and flip you around here. There you go. Parrot, as you can see, is making a new drone, the Parrot Disco. And it looks like a little stealth bomber, but it has a 14 megapixel camera, the same kind of one you'd see in the Parrot Bebop, and then one motor in the back. So it's kind of a glider with one little motor, and then you just throw it. I'll go ahead and mute that. You throw it, and this little motor takes off. You've got your app that controls it, and it flies for up to 45 minutes. That is amazing. Does automatic takeoff and landing, removable wings, and I find that to be absolutely amazing. Don't know if I could ever justify it just because it's not a quadcopter. Not sure what I really think about it in terms of actually piloting it. It's said that it's actually compatible with RC controllers though, so I'll have to see what the price point is on that. Let me see if I can look it up real quick. The Verge, of course, has information on it. Yeah, it says on The Verge there's no word on pricing, and it's going to be available sometime in 2016. I was really seriously tempted. Before I got the Phantom 3, I was tempted to pick up the Parrot Bebop because the baseline Parrot Bebop came in at $500, which is about where I wanted to be in terms of having a high-quality quadcopter for video. If this thing comes in at less than that, because it looks, in terms of just design and parts and everything, it looks like it should be less expensive than that. 700 grams, so it's one of those that would have to be registered under the FAA thing, but I'm already registered, so it's not a big deal. Top speed of 80 kilometers per hour or 50 miles per hour, which is really, really fast. But it's also got some built-in auto-piloting stuff. You can just tap where you want it to go in the app and it'll do this whole piloting thing for you. Not that I'd really want that, but might not be a bad thing. It'd be a completely different paradigm from a quadcopter though, because unlike a quadcopter where you can just hover in place and get really nice steady photography, this would be always in motion. So it's interesting. I'd have to think about it. And I don't think that I talked about it earlier. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Somebody in the comment section on one of my videos, I think I did talk about this a little bit was talking about doing tech videos and Android and Apple videos on my main channel. And the more I've thought about it as the day has progressed, the more I'm seriously tempted. I was talking about it to my contact over at XDA, and he made it sound like it was a good idea. Not necessarily the talking about Android thing, but I guess talking about Android devices and Android itself from a high level, not from a developer standpoint, but from a consumer point of view, wouldn't really be a conflict, I assume. The problem is a large part of what I do at XDA, a large part of the news videos I make for XDA are talking about device releases and rumors and updates and things like that. And then at the end, you sort of throw in all of here's the XDA specific development related things. So I don't know, there might be a crossover there. But especially with the time right now with CES, with so much news coming out and so much stuff I want to talk about that I'm talking about to you guys right now, I could put a lot of this into a video, into like a 4 or 5 minute look at all these cool things I found that are tech and fun, and I love these things. I guess I'll just go ahead and let the cat out of the bag there. TWIL.TV. We talked earlier about what that actually originally stood for. One of the things that I toyed with whenever I was rebranding to TWIL.TV was actually making that stand for That's What I Like, which, you know, it doesn't really have to mean anything. The entire name of the channel is now Jordan Keys as opposed to TWIL.TV. Although if you type in the URL, youtube.com/TWILDOTTV, you'll get to that channel. If you go searching for Jordan Keys, you're gonna find my channel at some point. But it just kind of seems to fit. If I switched everything over to That's What I Like, that would be a good name for the channel, a new branding for the channel, as it were. I think I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping this video up so I can get the editing process done. I did take a little bit of time earlier and I worked on it. I've actually got about 18 minutes of footage already edited, so it looks like this is gonna be a bit of a long one. If there's anything else that comes up the rest of the night, obviously I'll turn the camera back on. But other than that, I'm gonna try to see if I can find a little bit of time tonight to work on some video stuff. I think little man came back downstairs to say goodnight. Hello there. Yep. Clean butt, feeling better, happy times. He's super sleepy though. Yeah, but he's awake right now. Hello there. You ready to go to bed? All right. Night night, little boy. But anyway, as I was saying, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up for today and get this video edited so I can upload, get it all done nice and early so that after Christina and the baby head to bed, I can start working on actual video stuff that requires silence. So, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for spending the day with me and my family and listening to me ramble on and on about things. Let me know down in the comment section below if you guys would be interested in seeing a tech-related weekly news video over on my TWIL.TV channel, if you watch that channel. If you don't worry about it. But as always, again, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.